A very good evening to all of you, and to start with, a big thank you to ET and Rai for having us here. If nothing else, this entire journey has been extremely enriching and rewarding for us. So what I thought we'll do is possibly take you through the process that we followed, when we did this entire evaluation and the nomination process. So if we could just have the presentation, please. So when we first met, and we got talking about, what is it that we want to do as part of this award, I think the one overwhelming feedback that we got from everybody out here was that we needed to make it relevant. We needed to make sure that, we are showcasing experiences, we are showcasing case studies, which are actually going to help this industry. So we went back to our global CEO survey, took out the RNC cut, and these are a few things we saw that the CEOs were talking about. The first point was very important, and we've been talking to a number of MDs and CEOs in India as well. And the overwhelming feedback is, that as far as the economy for the next year is concerned, they're hopeful. And in fact, they're also saying that if it is not good, then we don't know if we need to wrap up our business and go somewhere. But optimism is there as far as the economy is concerned. The second thing that we were, hearing them talk a lot, and you will see a lot of it in the awards that we, do subsequently, was technology for them was coming out to be a big disruption, a huge, huge disruption. And when I say the word disruption, it was actually in a positive sense, because it was allowing them to do a lot more things that they were able to do till date. Operational excellence, I don't know how many of you in this room I've already spoken to have actually come back and given me problem statements like, Rachna, we want to see, grow and open 300 stores, but I don't want to grow another DC out here. And then after this, I think we talked, Mr. Nagesh out here talked about the consumer behavior. I think that is getting increasingly complex. To be able to have a customer, first of all, walk into your stores, look through your merchandise, and then actually pick up something without any other aid other than you trying to interpret how do I move him from just being a browser to a buyer out here. That's becoming extremely, important for the business today. And the last one is that the high volatility and this around the material cost, and especially when you're into the private label, is getting to be a huge concern for everyone. Keeping this at the backdrop, we realized that there were a few new normals, and I don't know if all of them are emerging. Some of them is something that, the industry has worked on. But anybody who's been associated with the retail industry for the last 10 to 15 years will remember a time that, we were actually getting into the market, and sometime, there was a mad rush just to be able to open stores. And I remember working for a client where I helped them open 300 stores in 3 months. As a result of this, and this was almost, 10 years back, we had stores which were open, but we didn't have anything on the shelf out there. There were, geographies that we were going to where you had the warehouse manager actually picking up a server, running to the stores to do a replication because the infrastructure did not support it. Then came a phase of consolidation, and all the retail companies worked in consolidating their stores out there, and closed a lot of it, which was part of their growth strategy. And if you today go and talk to the retailers, the one or the two words that we hear from them is what we are looking at is now growth. So we are hearing a lot of them come back and tell us, I am looking at opening stores, but what I'm also looking at as is actually profitable growth. Now, so the operative word out here is profitable, and probably digressing a bit, the word that I hear from the consumer in this, consumer companies in this space is affordable growth. For them, reach is important and hence affordability. Second is the innovation. If you go and talk to anyone today, I think the top 3 things that the CEOs are telling us which are on their mind is actually, one of them is innovation. How do we actually harness the ideas which get generated into the system and actually convert it into business for us? Now, the third thing that we are seeing happen very often is the consumer driving the experience you want. And if you put yourself in those shoes, you'll realize that today you're more and more dictating the terms and conditions at which you really want to get the kind of experience that you want the person on the other side to deliver to you. Fourth is disruptive technologies. And what surprised us during the entire nomination process, all those retailers we thought were actually brick and mortar retailers, quite a few nominated themselves in the e-tailer category. And you'll hear more about it as we get into the award category, and they've done a fabulous job of something like that. The last thing is actually corporate responsibility. I mean, there are retailers who have adopted villages, because it actually, one is obviously, without the Companies Act coming in, talent has been a huge, huge issue out here. We've seen, a lot of retailers actually get into, areas where they have had differently abled people as part of their, front desk out here. And then there are retailers who have actually adopted villages and are encouraged working with the parents to be able to, get their sons and daughters come into the business so that, they can help them build their future. Having talked about all of this, we actually realized that there are two things that we needed to recognize in this entire thing. One was positively innovation, something that, people can learn from, a model which can be replicated. And the second is the impact that the retailer has had in that, in the entire diaspora. So the theme for our awards for this year was actually on innovation and impact, and all the evaluations that we did subsequently actually kept these two things in mind. Is the idea fresh? Is it innovative? And what is the impact that it has had on the industry? There are 4 categories that we had, and we obviously had a number of subcategories out here. So we have the ET special category. We have the functional categories. We actually went to the extent of asking our nominees to share with us their operational excellence ideas. And then the emerging retail categories out here. And the 4th one was actually the innovation and the impact category. And these subcategories, as we go ahead, you will familiarize ourselves with. The process that we followed was, we obviously, went out, asked for nomination, and we actually simplified the process quite a bit this year, as a result of which, the nominations almost doubled. And I think, what also helped was that this industry, after, the dip that it saw, was getting more and more confident about, what they were achieving out here. So the number of nominations from the last year actually increased. We had a first jury round, which went through all of these nominations, and I salute the juries, for having the patience to, dedicating an entire day and going through these nominations one by one. After this jury actually shortlisted their nomination in these categories, we had a second jury round, which actually asked for presentation from all of these companies, and we had some very, very brilliant presentations, and for me, it was an extremely gratifying experience. The only thing was that I couldn't ask a question. But all the same, I learned a lot in that process. And today we are here to recognize that excellence. The evaluation process actually considered the business case, innovation impact that I've already talked about, and the potential to be able to replicate that entire thing going forward. So that is basically how the entire process was conducted. It was a pretty transparent one. We were also, questioned on a number of things, but we are happy to, share any feedback or get any feedback from you if you had some. But since I will not get the opportunity to say thank you and congratulations to all the winners out here, a big congratulations to all of you, the winners of the day, and we really salute your innovation and impact. Thank you so much. But before I go, I think there's a short clipping, a short AV on the jury, and my special thanks again to ET and Rai for having us here. Thank you.